What's going on, gamers? We got an important video here. Apparently, Sony fanboys and a couple of other people who I don't know, I guess their brain didn't develop enough, can understand that a handheld is a console unit. And a home console unit is something that's hooked up to a TV. But you have some people thinking that a TV needs to be there for it to be applied for a console. When really, a console unit is just something that is just a console unit designed. It could be on the go, portable, whatever. And then there's some people that could not handle the argument down here, and they tried to bring up cell phones into it. It gets pretty interesting. And then, we got the fanboys on Twitter, which I've saved as a bookmark this for the future because, oh, yeah, this is going to be needed for the future. Nib coming in. That's why I tagged him. This was not an accident because I knew he was going to come in. I'm just disappointed he didn't write his 1,000-letter love defense for Sony. So we didn't get that. But he came in with his little crew, with his little likes, and they tried to defend this video and do damage control because they got exposed here. It's okay, bro. You guys got clipped. Thousands of people seeing it. More people are going to see it. It's going to keep on going. The ratio is doing fine. I'm doing fine here. And, that's what he tries to do. Things are fine here. What are we talking about? Yeah. Anyways, so back on the camera again. We're going to get to some funny stuff here. So starting off, yeah, he says they're talking about home consoles, not handheld ones. This started with Josh Edits right here, getting on a video with Portal Rock. My thing is, I just wanted to tell them the truth about the 90s. I understand what they were saying. Like, that's hard to understand. No, the point is that you got these people, y'all, and I'm telling you, that have a negative point of view only on Nintendo because they're off balance. And then there's PlayStation fanboys that are insecure because Nintendo's about to take over and beat Sony. They can't stand it. And yeah, they won't say anything positive towards them. They'll just keep on dancing around stuff and trying to get you to not see the full picture. So Sony can look good or Nintendo can be negative. Remember that. That's what's going on right now. So going down here, this is what this guy says. We're going to get into a lot of stuff here. People trying to change the definition of consoles now. It's a handheld, okay? A handheld what? Does this device have its own dedicated UI, games, features, and stores? Yes. Does it come with a specific company? Yes. Are there any other stores or games you can buy from the competitors on said device? Very little. It doesn't need to be plugged into a wall to be considered a console from console manufacturers. That's an intelligent guy right there. Mhm. Portal Rock has gone full Dreamcast guy. Oof. The difference is that Dreamcast guy does it for clicks when I think Portal Rock actually believes the shit that comes out of his mouth. Ouch. Totally true, AGN. People always forget that handhelds are consoles. Love your videos. You are always on point and genuine. He says the same thing here, but let's get down to the drama now. Okay, starting off with kind of cool. Me and him have no problem, by the way. I just want to say what I need to say. He comments all the time. Sometimes he may disagree with me. I may disagree with him, but so what? You know what I mean? We're all cool. At the end of the day, just to let you guys know, because I have no problem with him. He's been on my channel. He's in all my videos. He says, Nintendo makes kid games. I want to address this because a lot of people think this. And video games are predominantly played by kids. Not necessarily true. So why wouldn't they dominate in sales? So that's why he thinks they dominate in sales, which no, it's because their development is good. Their games are good. That's why they put the quality of sale there. People trust their development. With me, it's all about development. I don't like suits. And of course, they jack the price up and do whatever they do. But that's suits, though. You know what I mean? But I'm not going to let them destroy my relationship with developers. But I said right here, the highest age bracket percentage by a landslide is 20 to 34 for the demographic on Nintendo. That is a demographic. We can go look right here. People with this outdated mindset, and the most popular right here is almost about 25. So their biggest is adults. Right here, this is their biggest bracket, 20 to 35. So I don't understand what people are talking about when they say that, because it's like, dude, no, it's people that are actually buying it now, people that grew up on it. And the kids can't buy video games. The adults are buying everything. And he was like, "That's for the Switch. That's the vast majority of Game Boy users were kids under the age of 15. But everybody was playing Pokemon, though. The whole world was, not just kids. They're unified. They sell to everything. You see, they were dominating and capturing the 90s. That doesn't make any sense to me. So we're not going to go too far into that, but now let's go down and let's get to Batman over here. This guy says the Game Boy is a handheld, so therefore the PlayStation 1 was the first console to sell 100 million. That's where you're wrong, bro. A handheld is a console unit. You have to tell them this again. We're going to get back to this again in the other thread. The home console is for TVs. Both are consoles. Guys, is this hard to understand? I don't think so. Yeah, and Nintendo do not own Pokemon. What are we talking about here? And I just watched them. I said, I know so. We read this. Yes, a handheld gaming device is a type of console. I had to do this in my last video. You show these idiots this, and you have to say it again, y'all. And then you could tell some of them do not watch the video. Remember, PlayStation fanboys do not understand what a home console is, and that a handheld, not what home console is, but they do not understand that a handheld is a console unit and that the home console unit is specifically designed to be put on a TV screen fixed. But why is the handheld not a console? Because it's not put on a TV. Like, this is where I feel like some people are so slow, they think a console means that the TV has to be there. When really, it's just a console unit in your hand. Both are. One can be portable, the other can be docked and be more powerful. The difference is specs in games. If that was the case back then. Now, you could pick up a Steam Deck and it's not no different than your laptop or your desktop. The difference are specs. That's it. You're on the same market. So I'm not going to say Steam Deck does not count on the Steam market. When I buy a game on Steam Deck, it counts. It's just like me buying my game on my laptop and my desktop. You want to play this stupid game? Shut up, because you're just dumb to me. Oh, like I said, you're not going to dance around this and get mad because Nintendo dominated Sony in the 90s and you tried to punk people in the Xbox community to make it seem like Sony is just dominating and it's only about home consoles and that's the only thing that matters in video games. That's a stupid mentality. There's a lot more to it than that. So I was just trying to show people the full picture. And this is not hard to understand. If you're still arguing against that definition, then to me, you are just a moron. It is a console unit. All right. So are we done with this? Let's go down to the next idiot. If you're going to use a handheld to counter a home console success, at least this guy said handheld and home console, then it's all fair we use smartphones and mobile games against the Switch and other Nintendo devices. Oh boy, here's what I said. I had it ready for y'all. You can if you want. We said gaming consoles, not cell phones. That is like trying to include PCs sold when they are not gaming machines, but open custom computers for all sorts of things. Next. Get your ass schooled. Sit back down, just like the rest of them. I'm schooling all of them. Why are you grabbing a cell phone? That's not a gaming console. That's not a console unit. That is a cell phone unit. It can play video games just like a PC can play video games, but it is not specifically a gaming designed unit to be sold on the market with publishing and development. In the video game industry, to say this console sold this much. Use your brain, man. Dear Lord. Now, let's go on to Twitter. I told Nib when he said they're talking about home consoles, that's to dodge the Nintendo dominating Sony, by the way. And because they got, like I said, highlighted and ratioed on YouTube when I gathered them, he came in this with a little pony crowd. Guys, let me tell you something about this. If you told somebody the truth and 1 million people disagreed with it, and they thought they were right, and one person, which was you, were the only one to agree with it, you were the one that was right, and the other 1 million people are delusional, and they think they're right. Just because a lot of people agree with something does not mean that it's true. Agreement has nothing to do with the truth. It's just a lot of agreements. Agreement and disagreement are of the mind. That's duality. See? Agree, disagree. I don't agree with you anymore. I like you. I don't like you no more. That's changing around. That's the mind. That don't got nothing to do with the truth. This 55 coming in, all fanboys, they don't got nothing to do with the truth. Same thing with people on popular platforms that coming in with the little comments, doing all those likes. Sometimes it could be that, but I'm just saying that does not mean truth. That has nothing to do with that. So do not be deceived by this type of stuff, y'all. Because this type of stuff is nothing but vanity, smoke, and mirrors. Yeah, you messing with a real one over here. You think this stuff's going to work on me? Like I said, it's not happening. I'm pulling it all down. So anyways, like I said, he said first console. That's what he said. He didn't say home console, not home console on the screen. Should we separate them? Really? That's like saying the Switch 2 partly doesn't count. Or the Steam. We can remove the Steam Deck, right? But if we want to go back to the 90s and then really only talk about that scenario, there was a dedicated handheld market. Okay, we can play that game. I can reason with you guys there. because I'm a reasonable being. I'm not going to say nothing stupid as dumb. And I'm not going to be no dumb fanboy that's defending the company or lying for Nintendo. No, either I'm going to tell the truth or I'm not. I don't give a damn who I represent and how much I like something. I will not lie for no damn corporation. But I see you guys trying to cover up angles like the news so people could just only see Sony positive. So I came in and just put the truth in front of there. And ain't nothing wrong with doing that unless you don't like the truth and you're a fraud and you're fake and you are a liar. Those are the only people that don't like the truth, no matter what you do in life. It says a lot about you. Ain't got nothing to do with Sony, Nintendo, or Xbox. Can you handle the truth no matter which side it flashes from equally? If not, then you off balance with the truth. And you better get your ass right. Let's be real here. So going back down, the conversation was a mainline consoles. You see what I mean? They didn't say that, though. They were just talking about some mainline consoles. But they didn't say Nintendo's not allowed in this conversation. Where'd you say that at? What did I do that was wrong? Nah, nothing. You're just a bunch of insecure fanboys and Nintendo haters. No, it is what PlayStation fanboys always do. You want to cut out a piece of the total picture to push your narrative to make Sony look more dominant. Come on, y'all on the Xbox side. Tell me they don't do this. How about the full view and totality? You do not want to do that because it pops your rainbow pony bubble. Yep, your rainbow cancel balls pony bubble. Oh no, don't show the full truth because Nintendo was dominating software. They're dominating the 90s. Right? Regular Nintendo, all the software first party, Super Nintendo, all the hardware first party and software first party. Nintendo 64, Game Boy Color, even the failed virtual VR that they tried to do. Yeah, they were the first to try to do that. They experimented with 6, 7 consoles in the 90s, while Sony sitting over there with one trying to hijack everything to money had everything. And over there being creative. They dominated it completely. Pokemon took over the 90s. Anime took over the anime scenes. It took over the trading card scenes. Their dominance for gaming in the 90s, Sony couldn't even come close. They were just moving hardware and they were featuring other people's games that were popular in arcades. And there was nothing wrong with that. And they had some cool games. And games that were supposed to be for 64 ended up going to the PlayStation 1 because that's Nintendo's fault for treating third-party developers like shit. Like I said, I tell the truth. That's their fault. But that doesn't mean that Sony wasn't going to still try to money hat, even if they were treating them well. They said it. We came into the industry to take stuff from Nintendo. That's what they said. Like, you know what I mean? Because we didn't know what we were doing. They admitted that. Look it up. They didn't know what the hell they were doing. They had to monopolize and buy Psyonix and all those other people to help make the PlayStation. As a matter of fact, Nintendo helped Sony design that one console and they ended up turning it into a PlayStation. A lot of people didn't know that. And they had more help after that. There's a lot of things they don't know about the 90s, bro. They just sit there and see, oh, Sony sold 100 million hardware. You always overfocus on the hardware, but you don't look at the software in totality. And that's it. Let's just focus on that. And it's like, there's a lot more to it. I just want to give you guys all the angles, but I can't do that. I'm a Nintendo fanboy because I'm doing that. Because I want to show Sony fanboys the truth. Yeah, okay. This guy says, because home consoles are separate from portable consoles. Hey, guys, are we ready for this? Nintendo has sold over 850 million hardware units globally since the release of Famicom NES in 1983. Do you see them separating these sales? When the Switch Lite was selling, and you can't make it a home console. When Nintendo reports Nintendo Switch 1 sales. Oh yeah, get ready. You know it's coming. You know what I'm about to say. That you can't handle, can you? Did they separate it? Or is it just 153 million? Because I've been telling them it's one market. But they're saying it's separate. When you report your fiscal results, you report everything. You say everything you've done, not a little portion. You want the portion because you don't want to see the full picture because Sony is losing. It's okay, fanboys and the insecure Nintendo haters that only want to show people negativity. Yeah, you ain't got no balance either. Are we ready to get into some other stuff? Because right here it says Sony sold 642 million consoles. They're counting the Vita and the PSP and the PSP Go and all that. It's in here, and this is all third party, mostly. The difference is that 70-80% of this is Nintendo, and like 10% of this is Sony. This is what people don't understand, bro. That is a difference. It means something. If you were trying to select the individual, and you could say 80 to 90% of you did this, and only this much of you did this. Oh, you leeching. You're the real fucking deal. And I'm just saying, like neutrally speaking, like you respect the real artists. Even Michael Jackson said it when he was alive. I'm just saying. Yeah, Sony had a problem with that too. Apparently, they couldn't handle that. All right, so let's go down to something even more. We're going to get to this later, but there's a lot here. This guy says we've always separated handheld from home consoles. I don't care what you do. I'm talking about what they do in the public and what's done professionally in the industry because they don't separate it. We know that the markets were different, but at the end of the day, what they're not understanding, what I'm saying is that Nintendo dominated the 90s, not Sony. This guy tried to make it seem like Sony was just dominating everything and nobody was getting in their way. And it's like, that's bullshit. They were trying to spin a narrative that was false. So I said console wars, not home console wars, bro. I won't say my Pokemon experience is separated from console gaming experience. I'll explain that in a second. It was a greater feeling as a gaming experience in the 90s and made an insane phenomenon happen. Is this separate when a console does it? It's the same thing, bro. Just portable is doing it. I'm just saying, either it's a gaming phenomenon or not, no matter where it happens at. Then he said, wait, what was first again? I had to tell him the Game Boy. The Game Boy sold 118 million. It was the first console to do it. Now, if you want to say what was the first home console, PlayStation 1 was. But the first gaming company to sell 100 million was Nintendo. This is not fanboy. This is just telling you everything is exactly what's happening. It's just the damn truth. All I do here is do that. So you're not finna guilt trip me with that bullshit. And then he said, here he goes again, laughing out loud, bro, it's a handheld. The discussion was about consoles. You made a whole video of it. See what I mean? To them, this is not a console. It just only means handheld. It doesn't have any developers or publishing. The sales don't mean anything. Pokemon means nothing for gaming. That was the biggest thing in the 90s. You see what I mean? Like, this stuff is funny to me, y'all. Only in Ponyland. This is what this guy says. That's what I'm saying, bro. Nobody thinks of an effing Game Boy. Oh, he's mad. When talking about consoles, only Nintendo fanboys. Here's what I said. Nobody thinks of separating besides Sony fanboys because it hurts their ego to see the full truth and total results. And now I'm gonna fix that in this video. Bro, even Xbox dorks that you just tagged think the same. When people talk about consoles, they mean home consoles, not portables. That just depends. In that situation, that could have been the case. I didn't say anything against that. Now, what I need to tell him is that I don't need anybody's consent to know what I know is true and when I'm telling the truth. I told you the problem with this situation is he thinks because I tagged him I need their consent. That's not why I did that, and I don't need to do that. I never sent nobody no DM to ask nobody for nothing. This is just entertainment here and having a good time. Yeah, I'm aware of people that literally, like I said, every day they expose Nintendo the way they want to expose it. So why would I expect them to come in and defend Nintendo? It doesn't make any sense to me. You don't think I'm aware of that? I can do that myself, but I don't need to defend them either. They can defend themselves. I'm not here to defend Nintendo. I'm here to destroy your fanboy fantasy. But you thought I was. That's the difference. And I like to balance things, just like I came to the Xbox community to back them up because of the imbalance. Now I see this imbalance against Nintendo, I'm doing the same thing. It's no different. The difference is there's people that were mad because I'm not doing it for Xbox. Yeah, I'm very good at what I do, so you thought I was an Xbox fanboy. Yeah, I've been called that 100 times. Ton of times while I was doing that. So I got called a NVIDIA fanboy before, a PC fanboy, now Nintendo fanboy. Make up your damn mind. You don't because you don't know what you're talking about. You're just mad because I'm very good at what I do, and I'm hardly ever wrong. And if I do, I'll admit that. But I'm not here to be right and make you feel wrong. I'm here to tell the truth and have a good time. Now, what I don't like is all this fakeness. Now, we're not done here. Here's another guy. Let's back up on this thread here a little bit. Let's go down to the next guy. There's a lot here. You know, so let's look at this. By the way, a fanboy would hide this, but what is the hide? This is what I told this dude. Nintendo was the market leader for 6 years during the Switch era. Yeah, it was arrogance, and they deserved it because he said they actually did. Oh, you know what? Let's back up here. He says this. You know what? Let's go back here a little bit. When I said PlayStation fanboys always do, they want to cut out a piece of the truth to push the narratives to make Sony look more dominant, right? He said because home consoles are separate from portable consoles, aka handhelds, literally aren't playing the same games. So what? Consoles don't play the same games with exclusives. That doesn't mean anything. What they are debating was home consoles. They keep on saying this like I don't know this. I've said that in the last video, and I said why I did what I did. Switch is also a portable that can project to the TV. They are trying to build hardware strong enough for third party. This is what this guy don't understand. I told him Nintendo builds for themselves. You are wrong. They never prioritize third party. They don't. Tiny ass little disc on GameCube, all that other stuff. No, they don't care about third party developers like that. Now they do, yeah. but it's still about them. That's why they did the 64 cards, because that's for them. They're more open now than ever, but that doesn't mean it is about third party. They're coming for their own profit. Mario is going to dominate launch, not third party. I do not separate devs because of a device. If Nintendo was developing games for a new handheld device, I'd get it. You want to know why? Because I know their developers are good. So you mean to tell me that if that sold 100 million, that's somewhat less? Tell me what console sold more than the DS besides the PS2. It's the number 2 most sold console of all time. And not separating it, saying, oh no, this is just over here, you know, it doesn't count. No, it's sold. If it would have had more sales than the PS2, it would have been the most sold console of all time. The Switch is going to pass up the DS this year. Guess what? The Switch will be the number 2 most sold console of all time. The DS will be number 3. No matter what you guys try to do, you're not finding your way around this game. I proved it to you by Sony combining their total hardware sales, where they reported Nintendo too, the Switch Lite being reported with the total sales. Steam Deck, even now, handhelds are now even one. They're now doing everything that the console is doing, but you're just transferring it on the portable screen. Are you saying that experience is separate? You have the same library. No matter what you try to do, I got the 90s on lockdown. And I got this moment right here in lockdown from the handheld perspective. No matter how you guys try to counter it, you can't get around this. Either you accept the truth and look at the full picture, or you run back and try to pick on Xbox to make Sony look good. I came in with Nintendo and I punked you just like you were trying to punk Josh and pick on him, and you were trying to punk the Xbox community. Mirror, mirror, you got mad. Hey, man, no, it's just the universe coming back at you, bro. So look, let me tell you something. Nintendo's about to lead. They're about to take over. They dominated Sony in the 90s. They're winning this era too. It's okay. The Switch beat the PlayStation 4. The Switch 2 is going to beat the PlayStation 5. They beat you in the era with the Wii, right? Because the Wii beat the PS3 and the 360. And the DS beat the PlayStation Vita or the PlayStation P. Just like the no, the 3DS beat the Vita, just like the DS beat the PSP and the PSP Go. Nintendo has beaten Sony way more times than Sony has beaten them. Sony only won with the PS1 and PS2, like against a head-to-head. But overall, still Nintendo won, because that's what I was trying to tell you. They had like 5 consoles in the 90s. They've never beat them in totality. But if we want to talk about where Nintendo won, well, NES, they won their war there. SNES, they won their war. Sony wasn't there, though, but I'm saying they still won against Sega and everybody else. They won with the Game Boy in the 90s. Sony beat them against the Nintendo 64, yeah, and the PS2. But Nintendo won against the PSP. They won against the PSP Go, they won against the PS Vita, they won against the PS3, they won against the PS4, and they're about to win against the PS5 with the Switch 2. That's 6 times. Not even counting their victory with the Game Boy or the SNES and NES. Though Sony wasn't there, but I'm just saying the Game Boy was outselling all of them. So they won the 90s. That's what I'm saying. They win overall. And these PlayStation fanboys are getting mad. So guys, tell me where I'm fanboying, or am I just, once again, only speaking facts over here? I pulled up the sales in the last video. I showed you how they outsold them. They get mad when you do that, but they want to do that to Microsoft though, and pick out Microsoft. But it's bad when I do that with Nintendo though. Let's keep going down now. So here's what this guy said: how annually Nintendo has low revenue, because we're talking about profit. He tried to bring up what Nintendo did in 2024 revenue reported this year. They're in their twilight year, you moron. This is their 8th year. You're comparing it to consoles that are in their prime years. That's called your prime time. Sony is doing 31 in their prime years, right? It's the golden energy right now for PlayStation. Nintendo is the dying phase. Wait till the Switch 2 comes out and they get more third-party support. This is the type of dishonest behavior that I'm talking about with the PlayStation fanboys to make Sony look good. This is all deceptive. This is mostly microtransactions and third-party leeching. This is all what they done, mostly. See, there's a difference again. Now, when the Switch 2 comes out, this is rising up. This is going to sink down because you're going to hit your twilight years. And you're going to see me come over here and flash this while you're down. Dude, it's like, this is what I mean. It's like, when you compare, learn how to compare properly and tell people what you're comparing. Because like I said, why are you comparing a console that's dying and it's literally done when a new one's about to launch and its twilight years results, you know what I mean, the revenue to Sony when they're in their 5th year, you know what I mean? It's still fresh. So, nice try, Pony. Let's go to this guy. This guy comes on the thread, right? 6 people like this. This is what I was trying to tell you guys. This is how delusional they are. Actually, original Game Boy and Game Boy Color never sold over 100 million. They sold about 37 million Game Boy Advances, which is a totally new console, sold 81 million. was added together. Was added together. What? This is what I said. I said, dude, what are you on about? Game Boy sold 118 million. Game Boy Color. It was just a color variant of Game Boy, same unit. And Game Boy Advance, 81 million by itself. You see them all coming, by the way, because they care about this. They're trying to protect Sony. Why are you trying to make this complicated? Nintendo was the first video game company to sell 100 million console units. You people need to grow up. This is a simple concept. Sony only had PlayStation 1 in the 90s. That's it. Wrong. The Game Boy model, out of 119 consoles, sold 81 million consoles were Game Boy Advance. This was like some type of Photoshop or some weirdness. We ready for this? I said you could read, right? Because if you go to Nintendo's website, it tells you that the Game Boy sold almost 119 million units, and the Game Boy Advance sold 81, and it was not a part of that. Be careful with these people. See what I'm saying? And I told them the STFU pony, and then I pulled up the website. This is Nintendo's official website. This is what I mean in that era. They've absolutely destroyed Sony and Microsoft. 256 million install base during that time. That market was combined, and it reported never to be done ever again in gaming history. Sony would never do that. They can't. This is the highest ever in gaming history. Nobody can compare to this market. It was insane. Now, Game Boy Advance, 81 million.51, destroyed Sony. Game Boy, 118, destroyed Sony. Every time Sony appeared, the Vita sold, what, 14 million? The DS sold almost 76 million. They beat them every single time, and they exit out of the industry. And they came back and beat them again. They messed up with this, just like Sony messed up with the Vita. They both messed up. That's okay. But they came back strong, though. You see what I mean? They didn't nuke their shit. They still came back. Because a lot of people that didn't go here were still coming from this, too. You have both of these. We're sitting here like, oh, man, they waited. And then they came back around. And some of them were here. This is just to tell you what the hell was going on. So, because these guys don't know what they're talking about. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about. So he doesn't say nothing here because he got schooled. Pony, go back in the corner and sit down. You know how we do it over here, y'all. So, yeah, tell me where I was wrong here, y'all. So let's go all the way back to this bull crap over here with the little fake likes. It doesn't mean anything, right? They tried to cover it up. So yeah, apparently ponies don't know what console unit is. That's hard to understand, right? But once again, they're gonna try to come and they're gonna try to say, "Oh, but we were just talking about home consoles. Nintendo doesn't have anything to do with this." What do you mean? Without them, Sony don't exist. They opened up the doors to gaming. Mario sold 40 million exclusive, right? Did you say they don't matter? And opened up the doors. And then they were successful, and now Sony exists. They came out of their success. So Nintendo is the birth of all of that. It's just the truth. Once again, telling you the truth, no matter who I represent. You fanboys get mad, but it's okay. All right, y'all. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what y'all think. Later, y'all. Let me know what y'all think about this, y'all. For real. Come on in. Hey, ponies, come on in the comments. Bring it on.